Kajwang, what do you make of this? The exchange at the top and the explanation.
The exchange was one person. There was no exchange on the part of the Deputy President.
No,
Let's be honest about it.
There was a response from the Deputy President. You may want to call it exchange or whatever, but there's a response from the Deputy President.
Response.
Senator Kajwang, what are your thoughts?
Sam, I think what Mheshimiwa Shollei is trying to say, she can only convince Muhkisa Kitui, who came back to Kenya yesterday from Geneva. For those of us who've been in this country since Jubilee took over power, we have seen the Jubilee government in its best days in red ties and white shirts to today, where people are throwing bugs at each other from the roofs of their cars. The Deputy President and his team, including Mheshimiwa Shollei there, even though I don't see her in many of the field rallies, started this narrative. They started by punching people very close to the President. They started by punching Kibicho. It didn't work. They went to punch Matiang'i. It didn't work. Then they directed their arsenal to Raila Odinga. And I'm glad that now they've taken off the gloves and they're taking on the President. We have seen them in Msambweni when they were celebrating a Pyrrhic victory where Jubilee didn't even have a candidate. They went there to celebrate the victory of somebody who seemed to be in competition with the same party. This marriage ended. It is a marriage where it is clear that it is on the rocks, and maybe one party has refused to sign the divorce papers. But Sam, what gives me comfort?
Which party is that?
We have Kenya, we have a society, we have a constitutional order where a deputy president and his team of supporters can be defiant. They can take on the CS for Interior. They can take on the people who control the instruments of violence in this country, and nothing happens to them. There were ages in the history of this country that many people have forgotten, that even to dream of becoming a president was treasonable. We have created a very egalitarian society. We have created a very free, a very open, and a very just constitutional framework. And even though many people think that the project Kenya is all doom and gloom, the fact that today we can have people who are in government speaking at extreme opposites and nothing happens to them, no detention, no assassination, tells you that we have gone quite a distance. But then there is a sense of entitlement that we are seeing on the part of the Deputy President. An entitlement that somebody owes him something, that the nation owes him something, that there is a baton that is his by right because they had an agreement at some point. I want to ask the Deputy President to go slowly, let him sell his gospel. Those people will agree with him, but those who do not agree with him will vote for other people. We have created such a beautiful society, and I hope through PBI we are going to entrench it even further, that even if the Deputy President was out of office, even if the President was out of office, no one is going to prosecute him, no one is going to run after him, as long as he is sure that he did not commit criminalities while in office.
Right.
The thinking that the Deputy President has been very civil to the President. It's not just about civility. It's not just about the absence of evidence that the Deputy President said this or that. The fight and these little wrangles between these two is even affecting the direction and the speed with which we want to recover as a country. There is no way the Deputy President could be talking about certain failures, economic failures, the hardship that Kenyans are facing. And yet he has been right in the middle and in the engine of policy making and decision making and planning in this country. If he wants to convince us that he has good ideas, there's still 1.5 years where, if possible, they should find a common way of working because they have a joint ticket. And unfortunately, there are those of us who perhaps have been reported to have asked the Deputy President to resign or for him to be impeached. I think those might not be the right routes for us to go. But what we want to ask for is some humility and a reduction of that sense of entitlement and an appreciation that the Kenya we are in today is such a free Kenya that the President, despite having all the instruments at his hands, has hesitated and has not gone after his Deputy President has not detained anybody, and has allowed them the space to speak. But let them not utilize that space to speak just for their own, ambitions. Let them use that space to speak for the benefit of Kenyans, and not just the Kenyans from Rift Valley and other areas that support him. Even we in Homa Bay, we wish to hear what the Deputy President has in store for us, for our fish industries, for our sugar factories, and for our maize and cotton plantations. Let it not be a partisan thing where he believes that between Rift Valley and Central, they hold the key and they hold the monopoly to leadership of this nation.
All right, Senator, I want